Stephanie Miller is joined by Glenn Kirschner. Together, the two catch us up on everything related to the Trump trials. Here's Stephanie.
Can we talk about this whole Smirnoff thing and what you think should happen? I mean, doesn't there need to be an investigation of what Comer and Jordan et al. Knew and when?
Yeah, I hope we never lose the capacity to be shocked and outraged, Steph, because really the only question now is whether Jordan and Comer were witting or unwitting Russian assets. I mean, there was a pipeline from Russian intelligence through this Smirnoff character to the FBI and then to Congress. And to think that Republican members of Congress used Russian disinformation to try to impeach an American president it's just beyond outrageous. And as Representative Dan Goldman said the other night in the 9 o'clock hour, and I followed him in the 10 o'clock hour, if they continue to prop this information up, and Jim Jordan already has, they need to be criminally investigated to see whether they are part of a conspiracy with Russia to interfere in our elections. This is deadly serious. How about we investigate suspected crime?
Yeah, I mean, as you've said, the January 6th coup is ongoing, and this Russian interference is ongoing, this election interference in 2024. The former FBI informant, I'm just reading from a tweet, charged with fabricating the Burisma bribery story about President Biden and his son Hunter, had extensive and extremely recent contacts with foreign intel services, including Russian intel. I mean, is this for the Senate, for DOJ, both? Talk to us about that.
For DOJ, you know. Yeah. And I don't want to go back to the 6 members of Congress who asked for pardons. Some of them are still sitting members of Congress, insurrectionists trying to kill us from within. They asked for pardons because they knew they'd committed crimes on and around January 6th, and they wanted to get away with those crimes. Ordinarily, Steph, the way an investigation works is there's a crime, there's an investigation, there's an arrest, there's an interview or an interrogation of the arrestee, and then we hope to get a confession, because a confession is the most compelling direct evidence of guilt imaginable. Steph, when they ask for pardons, we've got the confessions already. The Supreme Court has said a pardon carries with it an imputation of guilt, and accepting a pardon is some confession of guilt. We've got the confessions. What we don't have is the damn investigation to fill in the evidentiary blanks. At some point, these folks in Congress need to be held accountable.
Yeah. Talk to me about David Weiss. So he's a Trump-appointed prosecutor who's also prosecuting Hunter Biden, you know, who I mean, this is not someone biased, you know, against, what do you call it, Trump, right? So but I don't understand. Obviously, Hunter Biden's team is saying this is the reason, you know, because it was partially based on false information from Smirnoff that this plea deal fell apart for Hunter Biden. So, you know, go ahead. Tell me just your thoughts on it.
I don't know. It feels like a strange kind of legal incest going on. I mean, he starts out as a Trump-appointed U.S. attorney going after the son of a political rival, Joe Biden. Then he gets appointed special counsel. Then he brings charges, tries to bring charges against Biden and Hunter Biden negotiates a guilty plea. It falls apart. So he charges him. I'm not going to say he overcharges him, but boy, does he charge him when the guilty plea fell apart. And now he's gone after some of the source of the allegedly incriminating evidence against Hunter Biden that's been debunked. It feels like there's this legal incest going on. And frankly, I don't know what to make of it. And Smirnoff was just rearrested after being released. None of it, Steph, makes sense to this old prosecutor from the outside looking in. I just hope to hell there is some coherent plan going on inside the Department of Justice and inside these special counsel investigations that someday will make sense of it all.
3 words could clear this all up. Attorney General. Yes. Glenn. Oh, that's 4 words.
It's 4.
Kirschner.
Okay.
4 words. Well, we all know Glenn. He's like Cher. He needs no last name.
I'm a bad bureaucrat, because I would go in there and I would have sought an arrest warrant for Donald Trump on January 7th because the evidence supports it. Not as political retribution, but because somebody has to hold these ruling class criminals accountable in a timely manner for trying to destroy our democracy. So I think I would be a little bit too forward-leaning in enforcing the law.
Yeah, you can't have that. You can't have too much law and order. That's crazy. One last one on DOJ. So Black Knight tweets, Bill Barr set up an investigation of Hunter Biden that used Russian disinformation to lead to the impeachment vote of the sitting president of the United States. How are Chris Wray and Merrick Garland not holding a joint press conference to address the entire country? So many questions, right?
I have so little confidence because none of the upper class criminals, the ruling class criminals who participated in the events of January 6th have suffered one day of accountability, and there's no accountability on the horizon either. I almost feel like we're being distracted by the prosecutions that are being brought against the boots of the insurrection, the folks that Donald Trump said, go attack the Capitol and keep me in power. It's almost like that's distracting us from the fact that none of the ruling class criminals are suffering any accountability.
Yeah.
That's got to change. I wish I could say I have confidence that it will change, that it's all being put together right now. I wish we would see some outward indication of that.
Yeah. Well, so the two latest Trump gambits, let's see. First of all, he tried to cleverly move his address to Florida, and as if Letitia James wouldn't notice. Letitia James yesterday told the judge there isn't any basis for Trump to delay paying his massive fine, because of course he's trying to delay that. Clearly he's trying to say, let's dismiss the documents case because I have presidential immunity, even though he wasn't president when this happened, when the crime happened. Talk to us about his latest legal ridiculousness.
And of course, the Supreme Court is still sitting on the absolute immunity claim. They haven't even acted on the stay to give the case back to Judge Tanya Chutkan in D.C. so she can set a trial date. This is an upside down world on the legal front. And all of Donald Trump's claims are frivolous. And I think they all should and will be rejected at the end of the day, with the exception, Steph, of what's going to go on down in Florida. I don't have confidence that Judge Eileen Cannon, Trump-appointed judge, is an honest broker of the law. So I think it's an open question about what she will do. But listen, I'm just glad we've got a March 25th trial date in New York.
Yeah.
We still have a May 20th trial date in Florida. But here's what I hope happens. I hope Judge Cannon does Trump another solid and says, oh, no. I'll cancel the May 20th trial date, Donald, because you're telling me to. Good. Then Judge Chutkan, assuming she has the case back, can drop her trial right on the calendar for May 20th and take that empty trial date slot.
Well, and, I was reading some analysis yesterday, Glenn, we were talking about that, if Cannon is overruled again, Jack Smith has a stronger case to get her removed. I mean, I almost don't know which I wish for, that, she because as you said, all eyes will be on Trump-appointed Judge Eileen Cannon on March 1st. That's next week, right? Yeah, next week, next Friday. The next hearing, when we'll know if she's going to kick the May 20th Trump trial date. So, you almost wonder, you want her to be so egregious that she gets removed so we get a real judge. But, or do you feel like she's going to feel all of these eyes on her? What do you think's going to happen?
Yeah, so I've been involved in these recusal questions and challenges over the years as a career prosecutor. It's never an easy decision, but I think the evidence supports Jack Smith making the motion to recuse, to remove her from the case. And if she refuses to recuse, appeal it to the 11th Circuit. And at least that way, Steph, it's been litigated in the light of day, and we all know what the basis is for her to either be removed or not be removed. But that's really the best way to go about it. And you don't want to take a shot at the judge if you don't think you can actually recuse her from the case. But here's the thing. The rationale behind not wanting to take a shot at the judge and not winning the recusal is because the argument goes, well, then the judge is going to be more antagonistic to you.
Yeah, as if that's
Judge
possible.
Cannon can't be any more antagonistic to Jack Smith or, more in Donald Trump's corner. So how about you make the motion, just like down in Georgia? Made the motion, they litigated it. I'm confident it's going to be rejected by Judge McAfee, but that highlights the importance of litigating this in the light of day, getting a definitive and hopefully reliable ruling, and then moving on from there.
Yeah. By the way, thank you for your vociferous defense of Fonnie Willis. I'm so sick of, excuse me, but I'm sorry, some other male pundits tisking her personal life as if all of our personal lives are blemish-free. You said prosecuting Trump takes a street fighter. D.A. Willis has proved from day one that she's a street fighter. She proved it again with her testimony, forcefully debunking the lies that Trump and his criminal associates, RICO co-defendants, told about her. What is the status of that now?
Well, we're waiting for a ruling, I believe, from Judge McAfee. I don't think there's any more evidence that's going to be introduced on this issue. Based on everything I've seen, I didn't watch all of the hearings, but I watched most of them. There's no there on the disqualification front. There's lots to, say tisk about. We wish things had been done differently, but that's really not the issue. The issue is there a conflict of interest that requires her removal from the case? The answer is absolutely not. So we need street fighters to save our democracy.
Yeah.
This is not a cotillion. We're not going to just politely try to hold folk accountable. And when we hit these roadblocks, we're just going to back up and go home. No, we're going to bust through the flipping roadblock and we're going to keep fighting because that's what it takes to save our democracy at this moment. And only some people, Steph, in government understand that.
Speaking of women being tisk, we remember, even some of our male liberal allies tissing us about Roe v. Wade, and this will never be overturned. Well, we just talked about a Trump spokesperson saying marriage equality will be gone if Trump gets in. Judge Alito just renewed his threat to overturn marriage equality. He indicated he was disturbed by the case out of Missouri in which 3 people were eliminated from a jury after expressing homophobic views, and suggested the high court should reconsider marriage equality to prevent such outcomes. Here we are, all those of us gay people were told, oh, don't be silly, they're not going to come for that too.
What does marriage equality have to do with serving on a jury? That makes
shouldn't have anything to do with anything.
No sense what he said.
Steph, the way the right-wing bloc of the Supreme Court is behaving, it reminds me of the 1979 Iranian Revolution, where women had rights one day and they were virtually taken away the next. They were having weapons pointed at them and they were told, cover up more of your hair or we're going to shoot you, right?
Yeah.
We have the American mullahs. We have the American version of what happened in Iran in 1979. We can see it coming a mile away, and the folks like Alito and Thomas and others are determined to make women second-class citizens in every way possible, and we're just letting it happen.